idea. Justice. He had recommended
It goes pretty fast.
She looked good in black.
I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's City Board of Directors meeting this Tuesday, February 19th. And for those of you who have come out in this cold, wet weather, thank you very much. And for those of you who are watching in the comfort of your home, we have plenty of seating out front here. So there's still time to come down. So we're going to begin with an invocation by Pastor Richie Willis, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by City Director, District 4, Carol Weatherford. Please rise.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We just want to thank you for our beautiful city. It is a beautiful place to live. We thank you for what you've given us here, all the streams, the lakes, all of the parks, everything that you've given us. And Lord, we look to you today for divine wisdom and knowledge and understanding for our city and our city board members. Lots of decisions are made in this room, God, and we want to follow you with our whole heart. Lord, so we ask for your divine wisdom. You said if we'll ask for it, you'll give it to us. And so, Lord, supernaturally, just touch us with your spirit, touch us with your love, and let us do great things in this city for you. Let us shine like a light set upon a hill that cannot be hidden. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to come together and have this board meeting. And, Lord, every time we meet in here, we just ask you to show up with us. Keep us all safe, Lord. As this world's getting rougher, we just ask for a hedge of protection around these members and around their decisions and everything they do. Let them glorify you in their homes, in their lives, at work, everywhere we go. God, as our lives shine for you, and we thank you for this opportunity, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now call this meeting to order and ask Mr. Spicer to call the roll.
Davidson?
Here.
Jones?
Here.
Clark?
Here.
Weatherford? Here. Garcia?
Here.
Foley?
Here.
McCabe?
Here. Consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda or items to be moved from the consent agenda to new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Director Clark and seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor of the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. This time we'll consider the approval of the minutes of the regularly held meeting on February 5th, 2019. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by Director Foley. All in favor of the approval of the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. I don't believe we have any individual guests, but I do have something I'd like to share with the community, the city board. We had the passing of Mr. John Barron occurred recently, and we have a statement on that, plus a slide, number of slides that show John and various activities throughout the community. The Board of Directors, staff, and employees would like to offer sincere sympathy to the family of John Barron, a well-known Purple Heart recipient and leader among the local veteran community. Born on August 26, 1925, John Barron was 93 years old. He served in the United States Army and received a Purple Heart after being wounded in the Philippines during World War II at age 19. His wife of many years is Catherine Barron. John was formerly married to Melinda Barron, former mayor of the city of Hot Springs. John was an artist and an art teacher. John enlisted in the United States Army right out of high school and became a soldier in the 96th Infantry, 381st Regiment, Company C. He was involved in two heavy battles, the Battle of Catman Hill and the Battle of Suicide Ridge. During the second battle, John was shot in the hip by a Japanese sniper while he was under mortar fire. After 15 months of hospitalizations and 5 major hip surgeries, John spent the rest of his life in leg braces and crutches. That did not slow John down one bit. In addition to teaching art, he and his wife, Catherine, spent many years as avid art supporters, attending concerts and performances. In 2016, John was honored during a ceremony in the Board of Directors, whereby the city of Hot Springs was officially designated as a Purple Heart City. He was a lifelong advocate of Veterans Affairs and for many years headed the local military order of the Purple Heart. John worked with the city, the U.S. Department of Defense, U.S. Army, Arkansas National Guard, and members of Arkansas's congressional delegation to acquire a World War II military tank and underwrite, sponsor, and adopt it as a permanent memorial with support from the City Parks and Recreation Department. After dedicating the tank on Veterans Day 1992 at DeSoto Park, it was recently moved to the Transportation Plaza near the Garland County Veterans Memorial. A longtime supporter of the Hot Springs Hanamaki Sister City program, John was formally recognized by the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs during a 2014 ceremony during which the Hot Springs Hanamaki Sister City program was awarded a special commendation. As a community, we lost a man of integrity, courage, and inner strength. He'll be truly missed. So keep Catherine in your thoughts and prayers, as well as John, as we know that he's in a much better place today. Thank you very much. If there's no other guests, will entertain the city manager's report. Mr. Burrows.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Don't have a lot to report on tonight, but did want to make the public aware of a few things. Farmers Market is seeking volunteer board members. The Hot Springs Farmers and Artisans Market is seeking members for their board of directors. The market is a non-profit organization operated by volunteers. Its mission is to provide access to healthy, nutritious, locally grown food and enhance Hot Springs' unique arts and entertainment culture. The market is held throughout the year at 121 Orange Street in Hot Springs. To learn more about the organization and submit an application, you can visit hotspringsfarmersmarket.com or call 501-262-8049. They are needing some help there, and hopefully we can get some people volunteering. Hot Springs National Park prescribed burn operations is planning to conduct prescribed fire operations between February 15th and March 1st, depending on the weather. Controlled burns may be complete on Sugarloaf Mountain in Cedar Glades Road, along Bull Bayou near the Crabtree Cemetery, and along Pullman Avenue, and on the park property off Black Snake. Typically, we do receive quite a few phone calls during that time, so the more information we can get out on those prescribed burns ahead of time is advantageous. And for those that may have allergies, you may want to stay indoors during those times. A groundbreaking ceremony for the Reverend James Donald Rice Park will be coming on February the 21st at 11 a.m. at 511 Pleasant Street. I know this is near and dear to Director Jones.
Yes, indeed.
Construction is scheduled to begin at the new Reverend James Donald Rice Park. And it will include a basketball court, drinking fountain, sidewalk, park benches in Phase 1. And then the development of the vacant lot as a neighborhood pocket park is in partnership with Gateway Community Association, the CDBG grant funds, Parks and Trails, and Public Works departments. So we're glad to see that happening and the groundbreaking coming.
The mayor to play basketball against me.
Just a couple of other items. The new traffic signal at the intersection of Airport Road and West St. Louis, it has been installed. It's going through some testing, and weather permitting, the traffic signal will be fully operational within the next couple of weeks. So if you're in that particular area of Airport and West St. Louis, please use caution until you get used to that light being there. And finally, the repainting of the Hollywood elevated water tank has been complete, and the new mixing system has been installed. The mixing system will help keep the water moving and temperature uniform in order to reduce the formation of trihalomethanes. Last week, the tank was filled and disinfected. This week, we're going through some bacterial testing with the Department of Health. Once we receive all of those results, the tank should be back in service by the end of the week. So that's really big for the water system, and we're glad to get that repair in order and get that back online. Mayor, that completes my report.
Very good. Thank you. Now it's time for the directors of announcements of upcoming events. Anybody have an upcoming event you'd like the public to be aware of?
Didn't Director Jones just issue a challenge as an upcoming event that we
You
can?
heard me. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You heard me. You know you heard me.
Got a date on that?
No, that's upcoming.
Upcoming. Okay.
It's in the future, right? There we go.
Yes.
Very good. At this time, we'll consider the consent agenda. These are of routine nature and do not require discussion of each individual item, so we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Director Garcia, seconded by Director Davidson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. One of the items on the consent agenda is the opening of the Downtown Business District Parking Advisory Committee to those who are not city residents that can serve in an ex officio capacity. We know there's a lot of talent in our community, both inside and outside, and we have people who own shops downtown and buildings downtown that, by virtue of their residency, they do not meet the standard for voting membership on that advisory committee. But we no less wish to have them participate in an ex officio capacity. So if you're out there hearing this, or you know somebody who would serve the community well, please suggest that they come forward and fill out some paperwork so we can perhaps entertain their application to be an ex officio member. This time we'll consider resolution number R1928 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Mayor, this is Resolution R1928, a resolution authorizing the purchase of certain vehicles pursuant to the State of Arkansas Cooperative Purchasing Program. That concludes your reading. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So move.
Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Clark. This time, we staff member Doretha Yates, Director of Finance, and Greg
Thank you,
Dees.
Mayor.
Welcome.
You're being double teamed tonight.
Yeah.
This is a resolution approving the purchase of 16 vehicles from the state contract. All of these vehicles were budgeted for in your 2019 budget. The total price of them is $473,244. I believe in your packet you had a complete list with detailed information on every one of these vehicles. Some of these are replacements, some of them are new vehicles. If they're replacing a vehicle, depending on the condition of that vehicle, it may be repurposed or it may be put up for sale through surplus materials. So that concludes what I have. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I was curious as to, does each department determine which type vehicle they want, or do you oversee that? I saw there were Ford, Chevys, Dodge, and I didn't know how that worked for parts in the fleet services.
I'll answer, and then maybe Greg has something to add. But usually during the budget process, they kind of determine the type of vehicle they need, and then sometimes there'll only be one make of that particular vehicle. I mean, Dodge may have that vehicle versus another vehicle Chevrolet may have. But I don't know if Greg's got anything to add.
Also, we review each purchase and make sure that it's right for what it's being used for. So we purpose each vehicle for what it's used for, and we review that for each vehicle.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff?
I did see there were hybrids added to
the
be
police force.
efficient, so that was good.
Thank you. We had no member of our community sign up to speak on this issue. Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. We'll consider Resolution R-1929 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-1929, a resolution adopting the Hot Springs Board of Directors' goals and priorities for 2019. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Very good. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Weatherford, seconded by Director Garcia. Bill, you taking this, or who's taking the lead on this?
Mr. Priorities. I'll do this one, Mayor. On February 9th, 2019, the mayor and board of directors conducted a goal-setting priorities retreat to identify, review, and prioritize important issues facing the community, both now and in the future. Review and discussion of those issues led to the development of 10 goals, which the mayor and board of directors feel extensive and focused concentration is needed to maintain and improve the quality of life of all citizens and visitors of Hot Springs. These goals will guide staff and budget priorities to accomplish the stated goals and priorities. It was a long day on February the 9th. I appreciate all the board's input and work as we looked at those particular priorities. And I can go through some of those, Mayor, if you'd like, but we were able to come out of that session with 10. They ranged from water system improvements, majestic redevelopment, funding and infrastructure development needs, finalizing the water and infrastructure agreements, primarily with the DeGray Lake, fire and police departments and options on additional funding for those, sewer system improvements, homeless and low-income programs, fire stations and needs for additional fire stations to be evaluated, street and sidewalk improvements throughout the city, and then downtown parking, having that particular advisory committee complete and have a recommendation back to the board hopefully by the end of this year.
Very good. Thank you. Well, we had any questions of Mr. Burrows? I think we all participated in it, so it was a long day, but beneficial. Director Foley.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to just, for the public's benefit, say that we looked at 20 different items, and some of them were considered to be management prerogatives and not policy for the board. So we had some specific requests by citizens to address issues. They have not dropped off the list. They're not just listed as one of the top 10 goals. Okay.
Thank you for clarifying. We had no member of the audience sign up to speak on this issue, so if there's no further discussion, please call the roll.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. The next 8 items are condemnations, and at this time we'll consider Resolution R-1930 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Mayor, your first one is Resolution R-1930, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 126 Jonquil Place pursuant to Ordinance 6069. That concludes your reading of this resolution. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Foley, seconded by Director Garcia. And giving the staff report on all 8 items was Mike Scott, Chief Building Inspector.
Thank you all. 126 Jonquil, it's a burnt structure. It burnt April 10th, 2018. We had to take this one to attorney ad litem because the owner lives in California, would not answer our calls, would not answer our letters, would not answer anything we did, so we took it to attorney ad litem and got all that done. It's been certified to the state on back taxes since 2015, so it will come up for sale on back taxes probably this year. Any questions on that one? As you can see, the pictures kind of speak for itself. Not much there.
Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-1930, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 126 John Quill Place pursuant to Ordinance 6069? 126 John Quill Place. Hearing none, Mayor, if you'd call for the vote.
Please call the roll.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R-1931. Ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution number 1931, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 209 Edamere Street pursuant to Ordinance number 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
So move.
Second.
Motion. Thank you. Mr. Scott.
209 Edemy. This house, we've had a housing file on it for the last couple of years. The owner wasn't doing anything, and we couldn't get him to do anything. They were even hard to find. Then at the last second, of course, somebody swoops in and buys it. And so the new owner, he's here tonight. He's here to speak on it. His name is Richard Jernigan. Richard has came down and he's pulled a couple of permits. He's pulled a building permit and a plumbing permit. And so he has started taking out all the rotten wood, and it is our hope that he does finish the house. But I would like to go ahead and condemn it because it's got roof's bad, no plumbing, no electrical. You know, it needs a lot of work. And so, you know, and if he continues working on it, I'm more than happy to work with him so that the city does not have to expend any funds. So, but I mean, he seems like he may do the work. I hope he does. So he's here to speak on it.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Scott from the board? Hearing none. Welcome, Mr. Jernigan. Please come forward. State your name and address, please.
Richard and Marshall Jernigan, 224 Anatole Loop, Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Very good.
Currently in a fisherman's cabin, and I purchased this house to restore it. I was looking for a house to restore, and I made a pass through it, and I seen the structure was restorable. And I didn't know anything about this stuff till after the fact. It was put online as a vandalized home. They went in there and took the wiring out of it and whatever. Anyway, I've worked on it here the last few weeks here and got it all except a little bit cleaned up outside, which will be gone tomorrow. The property will be cleaned up, and I repaired the roof at the front, stopped the leaks, done a lot of gutting on the inside, and I plan on restoring it and make a nice home out of it. And I pray the board will reconsider the condemnation.
Well, again, any action we take tonight, is not effective for 30 days. So you've already taken out some permits, and Mr. Scott has a long history of working with property owners who are doing right and grabbing, having those permits and using them. And so as long as he continues to see progress, you're fine. And the best thing you can do is have constant communication with him and his office to let him know. And if you have a pause, you need to really communicate that to Mr. Scott and what the time frame would be to restart. So, we have many people in the same position as you, and he works with them very well.
We did have a $228 lien on the property for boarding it up from the past owner, and he did pay that lien off too. So my hopes is he does finish the house. So.
Very good. Well, you're off to a good start.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Were there any other questions to Mr. Jernigan? If not, please call the roll.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. Mr. Jernigan, please continue to communicate with Mr. Scott. Thank you. This time we'll consider Resolution R-1932, and ask the City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-1932, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 313 Texas Street pursuant to Ordinance number 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Foley, seconded by
Weatherford.
Director Weatherford. Mr. Scott.
313 Texas. This structure's wide open. The roof structure members have collapsed. Both owners are deceased, and we had to do attorney ad litem on this home. Also, the taxes are delinquent on this property. We have some liens for cutting the property. The good thing is when this house is tore down, which it's almost gone anyway, we will not have to mow this property anymore. There's vacant lots on both sides of it that are wooded, so we will let this one go back to nature, so therefore we won't have any further liens on it once we tear this down.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1932 condemning certain real property located at 313 Texas Street? 313 Texas Street. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would call for the vote.
Please call the roll.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R 1933 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1933, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 402 Estelle Street pursuant to Ordinance 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Clark, second by Director Jones. Mr. Scott.
402 Estelle, this is an accessory structure. There's about 3 or 4 buildings on this property. The owner lives in Alexander near Little Rock. We've driven over there and given him citations. He's got bench warrants on him because he won't show up for court after we issue citations. This is one of those that we've tried for years to get the owner to do the right thing and expend the money, but it's just obviously he's not going to do it. We have $650 worth of liens on the property currently right now, so we're asking to tear this one down.
Did you need to secure an attorney ad litem on this? or
Yes, we did because, yeah. No, on this one here, we got a hold of him because we knew where he lived.
Okay.
We actually drove over there and hand-delivered.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1933, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 402 Estelle Street? 402 Estelle Street. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would call for the vote.
Please call the roll.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R 1934 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1934, resolution condemning certain real property located at 420 Holly Street pursuant to Ordinance Number 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Foley, seconded by Director Garcia. Mr. Scott.
420 Holly, we have housing file dating back to 2009 on this house. It's been wide open, vagrants living in it. We have over $500 in liens in trying to keep it boarded up. Last time we boarded it up, the vagrants removed all that. We had the police come in. We issued $850 worth of fines. The taxes are delinquent. Both owners are deceased. We had to turn it over to attorney ad litem.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R 1934, a resolution condemning certain real property at 420 Holly Street? 420 Holly Street. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would call for the vote.
Call the roll.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. And we'll consider Resolution R 1935 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1935, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 421 Alcorn Street pursuant to Ordinance Number 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Clark, seconded by Director Jones. Mr. Scott.
421 Alcorn. This, we've had a housing file since 2002 on this. There are 2 structures on this property. They're dilapidated. We're constantly having to get this boarded back up because the area of town it's in, the vagrants try to get in it. We have over $1,900 in liens already on this property. The owner has been deceased, and nobody has lived in this house for 20 years. So the back taxes are pretty high. It just doesn't seem like it can sell. So, unfortunately.
Any questions of Mr. Scott from the board?
Attorney ad litem with constructive notice,
sir,
warning
I'm
order.
sorry. Yes,
Okay.
attorney ad litem.
No problem. Anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R 1935, a resolution condemning certain real property at 421 Alcorn Street? 421 Alcorn Street. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would call for the vote.
Please call the roll.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. We'll consider Resolution R 1936 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1936, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 727 South Street pursuant to ordinance number 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor.
Thank you.
If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to approve,
So moved.
to adopt.
Second.
Director Weatherford, Director Foley. Mr. Scott.
727 South, we've had a housing file on this since 2005. We have liens of over $550 on cutting the property and keeping it boarded up. The roof structure has collapsed. The owner is out of state, lives in Florida. We've tried to give them several notices to bring the structure into compliance since 2005. Believe it or not, they paid the taxes on it until last year. Why, I do not know. The owner has never made contact with the city to remedy the problems, therefore we had to turn it over to attorney ad litem.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R 1936, condemning certain real property located at 727 South Street? 727 South Street. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would call for the vote.
Please call the roll.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final condemnation is Resolution number R 1937. Ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1937, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 1147 Mineral Street pursuant to ordinance number 6069. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Foley, Director Clark. Mr. Scott.
1147 Mineral, we've had a housing file on this since 2002. We don't know of anybody living in the structure in the last 20 years. We had turned this over to attorney ad litem. Vagrants have been living in it. It's been needing to be tore down for a long time, but it's at a dead-end street, kind of out in the woods, and so we just kind of put it on the back burner, to be honest with you. We didn't have the money to tear them all down, but now we're getting complaints of vagrants living in it and doing things, so we need to get it tore down and cleaned up.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R 1937, condemning certain real property located at 1147 Mineral Street? 1147 Mineral Street. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would call for the vote.
Please call the roll.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
We have three ordinances to close out the action items for this evening. The first we'll consider is ordinance number 1908. And I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Director Clark, seconded by Director Jones to suspend the rules and read by title. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules and read by title signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Council, please read ordinance by title.
Ordinance O 1908, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the purchase of real property located at Lunar Place, parcel number 38184, related to the Hot Springs Stokes Creek Greenway Trail project and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion.
Motion to adopt.
So move.
Director Garcia, seconded by
Second.
Director Davidson. Mr. Anthony Whittington, Parks and Trails Director, will give the staff report. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. Tonight, staff recommendation to approve a real estate contract for a .22 acre tract of land, which is parcel ID 38184. It's located on Lunar Place in the Lloyd subdivision, which is a dead-end street off of Summer Street, to be utilized for future section of the Stokes Creek Greenway Trail, which is in accordance of our city's master trails plan. The Stoke Creek Greenway is a future neighborhood connection that will the creek starts south of West St. Louis, and it enters Lake Hamilton around the McLeod area. So this will be another neighborhood connection for our Greenway Trail. The offer and acceptance is an amount of $2,500, and this is a budgeted item in the 2019 budget.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Whittington? Thank you. We had no one sign up to speak on this issue, so please call the roll.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. We'll entertain a motion to consider ordinance number 1909. And I first need to have the motion to suspend the rules and read by title.
So moved.
Second.
Director Foley, seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules and read by title signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Please read by title.
Ordinance 01909, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the purchase of real property located at parcel 94914 related to the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail Project, Southern Trail Section, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded
Second.
by Director Garcia. Mr. Whittington, Parks and Trails Director, will again give the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, again, a staff recommendation to approve a real estate contract, which is from the Seaton Development Company for a 1.57-acre tract of land to be used for construction on the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail, Southern Trails, which would be Southern Trail Phase 1. This is the last bit of land to acquire before we can start construction on the next phase, which will go from the current ending, which is 850 feet past the Golf Links Bridge, and it will take us to TV Hill. So we are the purchase price is for $12,000, and if you remember, we've had this been in negotiations for quite a while with this company, and so this is also a budgeted item in the 2019 budget. So.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Anthony? There's no member of the public that has signed up to speak, so please call the roll.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action item of the evening is to consider ordinance 01910, and I entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title.
So moved.
A motion by Director Clark, seconded by Director Jones to suspend the rules and read by title only. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance 01910, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with U.S. Bank Corp. To provide short-term financing under Amendment 78 of the Arkansas Constitution for certain 2019 capital acquisitions, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Foley.
Director Foley. And Doretha Yates, Miss Yates, Director of Finance. Welcome.
Mayor, members of the board. Approval of this resolution will result in the selection of U.S. Bank to provide financing for our 2019 capital. The amount is $1,013,500. This was certain capital items that was selected during the budget process that were could be financed through this Amendment 78. This is a vehicle the state provides to allow us 5-year financing of capital. We did go out and we advertised for bids. We had 7 bidders that bid for this contract, and the lowest bid that we got on it was from U.S. Bank Corp. The way we do this is we use the 5-year Treasury as a benchmark and ask for basis points added to that. U.S. Bank come back with 32 basis points. The rate has bounced around a few basis points over the last 2 weeks, but as of today, that rate for the 5-year Treasury was 2.49. 32 basis points added to that is 2.81. So your rate would be about 2.81, depending on what it does the next few days until we can actually sign this contract. The debt service on this is going to be approximately about $217,000 a year. We budgeted a rate of 5%, so we're well below what we budgeted. So,
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Yates? Thank you. We had no member of the audience sign up to speak on this issue, so please call the roll.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted.
Mayor, there is an emergency clause associated with this particular action. Section 6, emergency clause, the Board of Directors hereby determines that the instigation and completion of the projects here and above set forth are essential to the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city and must be financed as quickly as possible. An emergency is therefore declared to exist, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its execution. That concludes your reading of the emergency clause. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt the emergency clause.
So moved.
Director Clark, Director Weatherford.
Davidson.
Any discussion? Pardon?
Yeah.
It was me.
Okay, it was Director Davidson. Excuse me. Please call the roll.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Emergency clause is adopted. Under board commentary, Board of Directors items for discussion. Did any board member have something they'd like to bring up?
I do.
Director Davidson.
Just FYI, the Park Avenue Community Association met last night, and for the first time since I started attending those 7 years ago, the majority of the people in there were under 50. And we have a whole lot of new folks that are there, these young people that have come in, and what we're finding is that now we have a shortage of homes, except for the one that they discussed at length last night that they're going to bring to Mike Scott for demolition. But what was happening in the meeting was they're getting very, very active at taking care of the community. So this was really refreshing to see after it was the worst district when I moved in there, and now I think we have the lowest crime rate now in District 1. So these young people are moving in, they're moving in young families, and it's just making an enormous difference. And what we're finding out, we're getting ready to go after a gentleman that we took to court a few years ago because he's got 2 houses back to back near me, and I'm going to recommend that we do something to proceed on that one again too. Thank you.
Very good. Any other director have a? Director Clark.
I just want to celebrate the light being done at St. Louis and Airport Road. I've been looking forward to that for a long time.
And when is that operational?
Down the airport, yes.
Within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
Yay, thank
I
you.
just want to make sure to look for it because I don't want to drive through it and be the first one. I drive that twice a day.
You know that's just a flashing light for the first 6 months, right?
6 months.
Because of the government shutdown several weeks ago, there was a mountain bike race that's normally conducted west of town here on the Lovett Trail, and they couldn't obviously do it. So they rescheduled that, and it occurred this past weekend here in Hot Springs, utilizing both Cedar Glades and the Northwoods. And they had over 100 cyclists come in, many of them from out of the area. I met with them Saturday evening at a local establishment, microbrewery that we have here in town, and they were having a good time. I went from table to table, and there were a group of 8 or so from Kansas City, Missouri, and another group of 8 from St. Louis. So we had a little Interstate 70 rivalry going on, and then people from Dallas and Louisiana and Memphis, and they all were very, very complimentary of the Northwoods, and they're having a great time, and they said they're all coming back. So that was put on by an organization called Kodiak Tough, and that's we're going to see a lot more mountain bikers in town here. So that. No, I ran in a foot race. I was trying to get ready to back you down and slam dunk you.
Charlie Moore called me and wanted me to walk with him in there. That's I can't walk that.
I do have a question for the city manager. I apologize for putting you on the spot, but when I go to the recycling center, the plastic bin area has the doors have been sealed shut, and there's a little hole, and you got to shove all your stuff through there, and it like takes just short of all afternoon to get our stuff in there.
Mr. Atkinson's with us tonight. He's going to come up and
I wonder. Why'd you do that?
hey, like that.
Yeah, you did well.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
called
Burke.
delegation.
Mayor, I tried something new. The problem was the contamination we were getting, especially in the number twos. We were getting anything from PVC pipe to the large plastic swimming pools that kids have. So I was just trying something different to see. I do know we've had a few complaints in regard when people come up with their bag plastics. I have tried to inform them that they can run them right on over into the recycle center by the office, and the staff in there will take them and handle it for the sorting. We'll give it another shot for a week or so. If it continues, we'll go back to the way it was.
All right. Well, I'll tell my wife that. And I can run a half marathon in the amount of time she
wife is.
I
throws
understand,
stuff
sir.
in there.
Yeah, plastic, Patrick.
Yeah.
Will you ask him a question?
Yes,
while he's
please.
there?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the trash pickup at homes one day late this week?
No, ma'am.
Or it's
We
gonna be on
actually
time?
work Monday. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I just want to make sure since it was a holiday.
No, ma'am. Not for us. Everybody
It wasn't
worked.
for you. Okay, thank you.
Very
The
good.
board could make it a holiday.
There he goes.
Any other questions regarding sanitation? Thank you.
Thanks,
sir.
Any other director have a announcement or anything you'd like to talk about? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn for the night, Mayor.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned. Be safe on your way home.
It's not even 8 o'clock.